Hi everyone, I'm Amy with Park Cameras. The videos we normally put on our YouTube channel are recorded courtesy of my A7R Mark II, which I love. But it does have its quirks and every camera on the market can have some improvements made. We're at Sony in Weybridge today for the release of the brand new A7R Mark III. My poor bank balance. Now Sony have invited us up here, it's actually the day after release, so they've invited us up here because they have some actual production models of the camera. This is one of them here, you'll probably hear things rattling. This is one of them here. I've got a 2470 G Master f2.8 on this one. We've also got one with the brand new FE24-105, which is a lighter f4 version of a standard lens. So we're going to be doing some testing with both cameras, which I can't wait for. So what's new? Well, it's got the same sensor as the A7R Mark II, giving you 42.4 megapixels, but it's got a newly engineered Bion ZX processor and a new LSI front-end processor, which working together gives you a lot more out of that sensor, a lot more speed, a lot more efficiency, and a lot more quality, which we will get onto. Looking at it, it doesn't look a whole load different. It's still very small, it's still ergonomically well designed. One of the first things I noticed is a lever on the back here. Now this is a little focus lever which allows you to switch between autofocus points far quicker than you have been able to before. Talking of autofocus points, you've got 399 phase detect and 425 contrast detect points in this camera, meaning autofocus is really quick because it covers 68% of the sensor. So there's barely anything you're going to miss when you're tracking a subject, which is really, really good news for wildlife photographers and sports photographers. Now you've got all those points, you've got them covering a lot of the sensor, but what about speed? Well, you can shoot 10 frames per second with full autofocus and full auto exposure on the new Mark III, which is amazing. And because of a redesigned shutter system, you can do that using your manual shutter or using your silent shutter if you want to keep things a little bit more subtle. You can also shoot 8 frames per second in live view mode, which uses the stills you've taken on the screen so that you can effectively track your subjects a lot easier. Now it's not the no blackout continuous frames of the A9, but it's a version of, and it certainly makes tracking subjects a lot easier. Now Sony know you're going to take advantage of having 10 frames per second with autofocus, so they've also improved the buffer in the A7R Mark III, meaning you can take 76 compressed and 27 uncompressed RAW shots in a row. So if you're shooting a compressed RAW, which let's face it, a lot of us do to save memory, you can shoot for 7 seconds at 10 frames per second. You're not going to miss much. Now it's all well and good being able to shoot loads and loads of frames, but if you've got to change batteries every 5 minutes, that's not going to help you. The new A7R Mark III is now taking the Sony A9 battery, which has a much higher capacity than we've seen in the A7 range before. In fact, it's got 2.2 times the capacity of the A7R Mark II. Finally. This is great news. It means we don't have to be changing batteries all the time, you can carry less on you and you have to buy less. Now I know you've probably got a collection already if you're using A7S, A7 or A7R, but let's not moan. We've been asking for this for a long time and Sony have listened. So the new R Mark III is going to have much better battery capacity, and they've estimated that with the rear screen you can take 650 shots, and using the viewfinder you can get up to about 530. So you can now shoot 42.4 megapixel stills at 10 frames per second with a longer battery life, meaning you're going to shoot loads of pictures. So I know the next thing you're thinking is, well, I'm going to be changing memory cards every single minute. Well, it'll actually be every 2 minutes, because now you have a dual card slot, one being UHS 2 compatible, one UHS 1. So you can shoot loads and loads and loads till your heart is content and shouldn't have too many issues. You can also shoot at the same time for extra safety. For example, if you're doing a wedding shoot, that works really well. So it's great for professional shooters. It either gives you extra long shooting or extra safety. Now you're going to need that card capacity because the A7R Mark III has put way more emphasis onto video than ever before. You've got 4K at 30 frames per second inbuilt. You can also do slow motion in full HD up to 120 frames per second or 100 frames per second if you're shooting in PAL, so you can really slow things down. It's got slow and fast motion mode, S&Q mode, just like the A9, so it can do it in camera or obviously afterwards you can shoot in that frame rate and do the post-production so that you can slow it down. When it comes to shooting video professionally, you don't only just get S-Log2 with this camera, you also get S-Log3, meaning you've got better grading opportunities. Now, what's really exciting is it also has HLG, which is Hybrid Log Gamma mode. You can essentially shoot log data, which can be put through HLG compatible TVs or displays, and they will grade the contents of the image for you. So you don't have to grade. Now, this is becoming increasingly popular, this 4K HDR video shooting and TVs. In fact, just at the moment in Europe, they've got 27% of the whole TV market. So this is becoming technology that people will be using. This isn't something that they've put in as an extra in case a few people use it. This is coming. Now, something that's really exciting for everyone is that the A7R Mark III has 15 stops of dynamic range. 15 stops of dynamic range, which is unbelievable. That's great news for everyone. Sports, wildlife, landscape, it doesn't matter what you shoot, that is brilliant. ISO range is also way increased. You can shoot up to 32,000 or it's expandable to 102,400. Sony have also improved the screen to 1.44 million dots, and there's technology built in now, so it's much easier to see when you're in outdoor or really brightly lit conditions. Not something I'm struggling with at the moment. The real star of the show is the viewfinder. It's got 3.69 million dots. You're basically viewing 1080 by 720 HD video through there. And it's got a variable frame rate which you can select, so you can match the refresh frame rate of the viewfinder to the type of action or non-action that you're shooting. Another feature I'm personally really excited about is the fact that it now has a generic flash sync port. Connectivity is obviously not going to be a problem with this. You've got Wi-Fi, low energy Bluetooth, and NFC, which means you can do one-touch remote shooting with your smartphone. It also comes bundled with Imaging Edge, which is Sony's new software. Previously, it was kind of hard to get software to work with Sony's. Really, Capture One was your only option. Whereas this new bundled software allows you to do remote shooting, organisation, and editing of your RAWs. I've just had a look at it around the corner and it seems really powerful. You can manual focus, you can select where you want to manual focus, you can do pretty much everything through the remote shooting, so through tethering, which is really good to hear. And it's free, so no one's going to moan about that. Using the Imaging Edge software, you can do something else that's really cool. The A7R Mark III comes with a feature called Pixel Plus, which essentially moves where your pixel reads your red, blue and green outputs on the sensor and creates an image that is huge. In fact, you get 169 megapixels, which is massive. It gives a crazy resolution, really rich colours, really accurate colours. And it's something that you can take on the camera and then you put it through Imaging Edge and that processes it all for you. Obviously it doesn't do it in camera because that would take mega power, but does it afterwards for you, which isn't a big deal. We're all used to stitching panoramas and things like that, so that's not a problem. But the resolution you can get is mad, 169 megapixels. That is something I cannot wait to try in like a mountainscape or something, because I think that will be really impressive. The A7R Mark III doesn't just look good against the A7R Mark II with a few upgrades. It looks very good on its own. The spec list is brilliant. The features seem amazing. This video has been shot with an A7R Mark III in S-Log3, so I can't wait to get that home and do some grading. Hopefully it's looking good for you right now. We're also going to take some pictures and we'll put those in so that you can see what the Mark III can do, and hopefully I'll get my hands on one soon to do some proper testing. Now, if you need any more information, please just pop onto the website, pop a comment below, give us a call or send us an email, and we will try our best to help you out. Thanks for watching.